Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? How are you guys doing today? This is Gregory Wilds coming live to you from Houston, Texas with this inspirational morning walk. For first-time listeners, I just get some exercise in the mornings, and I just share my thoughts with you guys. Whatever I'm inspired to talk about that day, I'll share with you guys. Yes, I'm on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 Central Time. This is our time here in Texas, and it's 8:30 Eastern. You can calculate which time zone you are in. But yes, anything you miss, we're on YouTube. Everything is on YouTube, and you can go there and find lots of good stuff that we did in the mornings, man. But this morning, yes, what I want to talk about today is perception. Your perception of things, how you perceive things, right? I was listening to this guy that I usually listen to, Kevin Ewing, and he had, I can steal his head in, he had did something on this, and he said your perception will determine your direction, and I like that, so I'll use that as the heading. Your perception will determine your direction, right? Your perception will determine your direction, right? And based on your perception, as he was saying, based on your perception on your culture, your emotions, your life experiences, what go on in your home will determine your directions in life, right? It will determine your directions, right? Because how much of us will go on in our home and how we grew up, right? We thinking everyone should operate the way how we grew up. Our perception of life was based on what go on in our home. And when we go out in the world and we see people doing things, how they can be doing that, I can't understand how people could live like this, how they're doing this like this, how they're doing that like that. But if you really look back, why that looks strange to you and to the other person, this is how I live, this is how you do things, because that's what go on in their home, right? So, and we in this big old world here, we got to understand that, understand people, understand our perceptions are different. Sometimes based on our culture, sometimes based on our emotions at the time, sometimes based on life experiences, right? So we got to understand that, because that's going to determine our direction, how we perceive things, right? How we perceive things. And the level that you're on, how you perceive things, that the level that you're on right now. Because the level that you're on is preparing you for the next level. So just how you perceive things at that level will determine how you operate on the next level, right? Will determine how you operate on the next level when you get the promotion or when you get whatever it is you're praying about, right? So let's see, what's your perception of your boss right now? What's the perception of your boss? You might have a jacked up boss, Osmond Smith. Good morning, sir. You might have a boss that's really a really terrible boss, right? And how you perceive the boss right now. Are you going around complaining about this boss and all these things that they're not doing, how the lazy they can't manage and all of that? Or are you looking and saying, thank you, Jesus, thank you, sir or madam, for showing me how not to be a manager? And are you preparing yourself, all the things that they're doing and you see the effects it's having on their staff, are you preparing yourself and trying to better yourself in those areas, so when you get that promotion, you not do the same things that they're doing? But if you just complaining how terrible they are, you may likely to repeat that same mistakes, because you're not prepared when you get to that level, right? And next thing I see a lot of people are praying to get married, they want to get married, and God may give them a test and give them a roommate, right? They got a roommate, and let's say the roommate, let's say they're the clean one, right? Let's say it's you're the neat one and the roommate is the messy one, right? But you can't get along with the roommate. You're going around complaining to everyone how this person's so messy, they're so nasty, they're so dirty, they're leaving things wrong and all of that. Or let's say it's vice versa, you're the messy one and your roommate is the clean one. And the roommate just asks you to pick up a few things as you go along, man. You just pick up a few things. You don't gotta get everything neat tonight, but I just don't leave your clothes on the floor. Just rinse out the little things in the sink, and then you upset with them. Man, look, I'm paying my half of this rent just like you. You can't tell me what to do. Yeah, but you're trying to get married, right? And you're trying to get married, right? Or your roommate might be snoring like a bear, and you complaining to everyone out this. Hey, when you get in a marriage, right? It's the same thing you got to be dealing with. Your partner might be snoring. You got to find a way to work around that. They might be the messy one or the clean one. And you might be paying all the bills. but you still got to respect the other person, right? So the roommate situation you got probably is preparing you for the next level. So what's your perception of that situation? What's your perception is going to determine your direction, right? So let's look here and see a little scripture, right? Ecclesiastes 9:4, it said, there's hope only for the living. As they say, it's better to be a live dog than a dead lion, right? There's hope for the living, right? So once you got life, there is hope. So what's your perception of the situation you're in right now? What's the perception of the situation you're in right now? What's the perception? You might have a certain sickness, right? What's the perception of that? Right? What's the perception of the situation you're in right now? Because they say once there's life, there is hope. Once there's life, there's hope. And here why there's life, there's hope. Because in Ecclesiastes now, 3:1, Ecclesiastes 3:1, it said, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under the sun. So they're saying once there's life, there's hope, because what you're going through may not last. What you're going through is not going to last. This is the law of the law of seasons, right? What you're going through it's not going to last. So what's your perception of what you are going through right now, right? What's your perception of your situation? I see a guy born with no arms and no legs, and he could have stand around all day and cry and say, man, life gives me a deal blow. I can't do nothing. I just got to depend on the government or depend on people. But you know what he did? His perception of his situation. He said, man, I got no arms, no legs. You know what? And he go and he start motivating people. He become a great motivational speaker. A great motivational speaker he is. He's all around. You probably see him around the internet. Great motivational speaker. Because when people see him without no arms and no legs, and the things he's doing and the things he acquire and achieve in life, what is your excuse when you got both all your limbs intact, right? So he took that situation. He looked at the perspective and say, you know what? I don't have no arms, no legs. What can I do? This might be my blessing. This might be my breakthrough right here. So when people see him jump up, he has a little table he sits on because he have no arms and no legs, and they have the microphone on the stand in front of him, and he start to speak. Man, he motivate a whole lot of people to do better with their lives, right? It's like a blind man once. He was blind in a nursing home. I talked the story before. He was in the nursing home. He's blind, and the next old guy in the nursing home used to come and cheer him up every day and would tell him, man, how it's such a beautiful day. You look through the window, man, it's such a sunny day. It's such a nice spring day. You see how the flowers are blooming and how it's so pretty, and there's a nice spring outside there, and the birds are around there, and all these pretty scenes. Every day he got some nice, beautiful scene to describe to him to cheer him up, because he was so down on his blindness, right? His perception of his condition, his blindness, was that life is over for me, man. I'm good for nothing now. I can't see him no more, so life is over. But this man used to come and cheer him up every day and make him feel good. So he used to look out for this man every morning, right? So one morning, but a week go by and the man didn't show up. So he asked one of the nurse. He said, nurse, what happened to my friend? He used to stop by every morning here and cheer me up, man. I miss him. The nurse said, who's that? The blind man? He said, no, this man used to always tell me all these beautiful things out the window. I said, yeah, he was blind. He was blind for years, but he died a week ago. And then it hit him. He said, the man was blind? And then it hit him, right? His blindness, he doesn't have to be sad in his blindness. The blindness was his gift now, because he could make the world. He could look through his window now. He didn't need a man to do it for him. He could look through his window every morning and see whatever he wanted to see to cheer him up that day. And he started going around using the same technique to start cheering people up. So his life now become useful. His condition did not change. His condition did not change, but what changed? His perception of his condition. That's what changed. His condition didn't change. And he started to be a happy man and start helping people around there now. Right? Because the perception of his condition would change, not the situation that changed, guys. So, guys, I'm urging you today, A lot of us get divorces. A lot of us got big problem in our relationships because of our perception, how we perceive life, based on how we grew up in our home, based on the things that we want. Our perception is what got us in a lot of trouble today, in a lot of situations, guys. So look at your perception in life. Look at the root. Why you think the way you think about a certain thing, right? Why you think, and don't look at the other person as like, oh, look at yourself first. Don't look at them like they're weird, because they're looking at you or you're weird too. Right? I know I'm around a lot of youth sports right now, and I see some parents doing some things with their kids. Some parents put them through some type of training where you think is cruel. Sometimes they might leave them by themselves, send them on long trips by themselves. They're 9, 10 years old, and you might say, man, how a parent, lots of other things they might be doing. You might, how a parent who loves the child can do this. But when you talk to the parent, that parent said, I'm trying to teach them how to be confident. I'm trying to teach them how to be independent. That's the way how you're going to get tough, because that's their perception, how they grew up and how their parents treat them. And that's the perception they have. This is how you get a child tough. This is how you make them get the growing confidence. This is how you make them get independence. And you grew up in a different home saying these people are cruel to the children. And then they're looking at you and saying, you were soft on your kids. You need to get your kids more tough. So you see, this perception thing can cause a lot of issues. So don't judge people based on their perceptions. Don't judge people based on that. And try to understand human beings. Try to understand people, right? And look at yourself to make that difference to work with everyone. Because in the workplace, you're going to have a whole bunch of employees. If you're a leader, or if you're just a regular employee too, people around you that you have to deal with that have different perceptions in life. And you just got to understand people. I know a lot of things that they're doing is based on their perception. And if you're a leader, you can help change the perception. You can help change that culture in your job, and help change that perception, right? So your perception will determine your direction, guys. Your perception will determine your direction. So look right now at some of the things you're doing and ask yourself, why am I doing it this way? Why do I think this way? And you go back to the root and see. It's based on a perception, maybe your life experience, maybe the way you grew up, maybe the way you were taught, maybe the country that you come up in, right? And it's all based on your perception. All right, guys. So I'm going to leave it there. You guys have a great Wednesday, and we'll talk again on Friday, guys. Have a great day. Renita, good morning. How are you doing today? All right, goodbye.